What up, everyone? My name is Pilar, and this is Pilar's Corner, where self development meets self acceptance. I mean, I'm not even going to cut that out so that you can see me embrace that moment as an opportunity for self acceptance. Anyways, have you ever been told that you're too sensitive? Have you ever been told that you're too much? Have you ever been told to wrap it up and subsequently that what creates fear? Fear of expressing yourself, fear of feeling any feelings for that matter. If you're anything like me, you have experienced being told you're too sensitive, you're a drama queen, and that you're just an attention seeker. No one size fits all. The journey when it comes to feelings management and exploring why we have the emotions we have, no one size fits all. But I am here to tell you that even though you feel like you need to be in emotional control, whether you tell yourself directly or not, the real goal should be to experience emotional power. Now, what do I mean by that? Honestly, it's pretty simple. It means just genuine curiosity. We have a tendency to shut ourselves down or to run away from a situation that we feel like might be bringing up emotions in us. And honestly, a lot of spiritual practices will want you to kind of separate yourself and create a dissonance and a detachment. Now, not all spiritual practices do this, but there is this kind of sentiment of how do you move away from this feeling and ascend into your true being? The reality is that all of yourself is yourself. So when a new part of us comes up, or when an old part of us comes up, we feel things, and that's natural and that's normal. And not only that, it's okay. A lot of our knee jerk reactions are to suppress those feelings, suppress those emotions. But when we embrace those emotions with curiosity, we're saying not only that it's okay to feel that way, however it is that we feel, but that it's a safe place to explore why it is that we're feeling that way. Because on the flip side, if you come to it with fear or you come to it with this idea of, no, this is bad, this is wrong, and you try to separate yourself, you're essentially telling yourself that you are wrong. When in reality, there may be something happening where you're either trying to protect yourself, you're just trying to communicate what it is that you need through a silent voice. I call certain voices silent voices. These voices are essentially, we have a tendency to talk to ourselves a lot, right? We have a tendency to have narratives going on and, oh, you're stupid, or, oh my God, good job, or look at that girl, how she did that. Oh, hey. Okay. We have these narratives, we have these voices, and we attach them either to other people or they're our own voices. With that being said, we also have silent voices. And most of the time, the way those silent voices communicate to us are through emotions, are through feelings. And the only way that we can figure out what it is that's happening is if we give them the time of day. What we're telling these silent voices when we push them away is that we're not worthy of love. That part of us is not worthy of love. Now, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to tell you that that is not true. Even though in your knowing you know that that's not true, you still feel that way. And that's why you have to do the work of asking those feelings, hey, what's up? What's going on? It's okay. It's like a crying baby. You don't just tell the crying baby to stop crying, although sometimes you want to. I'm not be totally real. Sometimes you want to, but you don't. You comfort it. You try to figure out why that child is crying. For myself, after lots of work, when I was a kid, I felt like I was bad. I felt like I was broken. I felt like I was too much, right? And in my own nuanced way, it felt like I was too much. And just the same way as I'm sure you have felt like you have been too much, or that hypervigilance in you goes, don't be too much. But the reality is I just didn't have the tool set to actually process that energy and what was really happening to me. And now I look at my own children and I see sometimes that same intensity. And even though it is so frustrating and triggering, because Lord Almighty, we're here to heal. We ain't healed. So, but my goal is to help them feel safe, to help them establish, at least in muscle memory, that there is a safe place even when emotions are happening. Our body is trying to tell us that we have something to work on. And that might be nothing, right? It could literally just be that we're having a ton of emotional overhead. Again, no one size fits all, because for me, I've always struggled with emotional regulation. And that's part of my ADHD, that's part of my autism. And I know that when, someone's like, "Hey, let's watch Black Swan." Not that anyone's ever said that, but but that is just one example of a movie that I know I cannot watch because I have a tendency to hyperfixate and I will feel my feelings just way too much. And y'all, I got a life to live. I gotta make dinner. I gotta pick up these kids. I can't be an emotional wreck. But that's part of me figuring out what works for me. And that's actually where we find true emotional power and control. Because the reality is that the reason why emotional control is so suppressing is because it's somebody else's boundaries. Somebody else has been telling you you're too much. And so you adjust based on that. When in reality, you should be defining what your boundaries are and what your cup and capacity is ready and available for. So when you are in that space where you can say, okay, this is too much for me, and now you have autonomy. Yeah, I just realized that was going to rhyme when I said it. Mm, 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 mm. Sorry. But once you realize you have autonomy, that's when you start to really embrace what it actually means to have emotional power and control, because it's based on you, baby. It's based on your boundaries. So honestly, first steps first. If you're available for it, and if not, it's all right. It's okay, boo. We keep these messages up in our subconscious for when we're ready. But first things first, be curious. Maybe it feels too violent to experience certain emotions. And again, we're all going through our own journey, and you have to be available for yourself, either by going through therapy, just having somebody else to help you work through it with you, or just yourself, right? Just being aware. Nobody knows you better than you, boo. Okay. So when we're in that place where we're having an emotional shift and we don't necessarily have the words to understand what it is that's happening, maybe take a breath. And if those feelings do feel right, too violent, maybe put them in a box. You know how, like, an interrogator, right? They have those little one-way mirror systems. You just put it in there. Just observe with safety, right? But ultimately, try curiosity. Ask yourself some questions, because at the base root of it, we have to simply, instead of villainizing our emotions and our feelings, is to be curious about them. Sometimes even just naming it with a knee jerk, see what comes up. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, right? Whatever that is, even just naming it to yourself right then and there. I'm so angry. Sometimes that immediately extinguishes it. Why? Because you're validating the emotion, and the emotion is just coming from a part of you. A part of you is being triggered. A part of you is asking for a moment. Your brain only wants to protect you at every step of the way. And by no means is it perfect in doing so, and uses some crazy backwards ways of doing that. But it's true. Our brain only wants to keep us alive. So taking the time, being curious, take an opportunity to try to name that emotion, see what comes up for you. Honestly, this isn't easy work. And if you've been following what's going on in astrology, we just had a full moon in Virgo. And let me tell you, that Virgo energy, it's a lot about having emotional control and emotional validation. Is this the right emotion for the right time, for the right moment? Am I allowed to feel these emotions right now, or should I wait to have these later? Is this adding value to now, or am I going to be looked at as crazy? We judge ourselves so much. And that full moon is saying, baby, you are here, you are now, and you are already perfect. You do not need to be so hyper vigilant about what comes through you naturally. Your body is not lying to you. Your body is simply trying to communicate with you emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. So, what do you feel like you struggle with the most when it comes to emotions? What comes through for you even listening to this? I would love to hear about you and your journey. And again, this is a safe place because you are already perfect. You're amazing and you're awesome. All right? You got this. I'll talk to you later.